What if a coin that looks completely ordinary could actually have a story that most people have never heard? Take a close look at this Saudi Arabian 50 Halalas coin from 2016. At first glance, it may seem like nothing more than a small piece of everyday currency. But look closer, and you'll find two different calendar dates, detailed Arabic inscriptions, the Saudi national emblem, and a design that connects this tiny coin to the history and identity of Saudi Arabia. But here, where things get really interesting, some collectors don't simply look at the date on a coin. They look for the tiny details that most people completely ignore: unusual strikes, missing details, strange lettering, doubled designs, damaged or unusual edges, and other possible minting errors. And if you happen to find one of those genuine abnormalities, the coin can become far more interesting to collectors than an ordinary circulated example. So is this 2016 Saudi 50 Halalas coin actually rare? What do the dates 2016 and 1438 mean? Why does this coin have both Arabic and English writing? And most importantly, what should you check before deciding that your coin is valuable? In this video, we're going to examine this coin detail by detail, uncover its history, explain its design and specifications, explore the errors collectors search for, and reveal what really determines its value. So before you spend, sell, or ignore a coin like this, take a closer look, because sometimes the smallest details can tell the biggest story. The coin we are examining today is a 50 Halalas coin from Saudi Arabia, dated 2016, with the corresponding Islamic Hijri date of 1438. This coin belongs to the sixth major issuance of Saudi Arabian currency, introduced during the reign of King Salman bin Abdulaziz Al Saud. At first glance, this may look like a simple everyday circulation coin, but it contains several details that make it interesting from a collector's perspective. The denomination is 50 Halalas, which represents half of 1 Saudi rial. The coin is made primarily of brass and has a round shape with a diameter of approximately 24 millimeters and a weight of about 5.2 grams. The catalog reference for this type is KM-77, and it is classified as a standard circulation coin rather than a commemorative issue. One of the easiest ways to identify this particular coin is to look for the combination of 2016 and 1438, along with the Saudi national emblem and the name of King Salman. So before we talk about value, rarity, or errors, it is important to understand exactly what this small Saudi coin represents. To understand this coin, we first need to understand the word halala. The halala is a subdivision of the Saudi rial. 1 Saudi rial is equal to 100 halalas, meaning that a 50 halalas coin represents 1/2 of a rial. The 2016 issue was part of a major new series of Saudi currency. According to Saudi historical currency information, the sixth issuance included 7 different coin denominations: 1 halala, 5 halalas, 10 halalas, 25 halalas, 50 halalas, 1 rial, and 2 rials. This was an important modernization of the Saudi currency system under King Salman. The 50 halalas denomination was designed for ordinary circulation and everyday transactions. Unlike a commemorative coin produced mainly for collectors, this coin was intended to function as real currency. That makes it especially interesting today, because coins like this can travel through countless hands, shops, businesses, and transactions before eventually finding their way into collections. In other words, this small piece of brass is not simply a piece of metal. It is also a small physical record of Saudi Arabia's monetary history during the early years of King Salman's reign. Now let's take a closer look at the first side of the coin. At the center is one of the most recognizable symbols of Saudi Arabia, the national emblem featuring a palm tree above 2 crossed swords. The palm tree represents growth, vitality, and prosperity, while the crossed swords are associated with strength and protection. Around this central emblem, the coin contains Arabic inscriptions and decorative floral elements. The inscription includes the title custodian of the 2 holy mosques, followed by the name of King Salman bin Abdulaziz Al Saud. On either side of the central design, we also find the 2 dates that immediately help identify this coin: 2016 and 1438. The floral decoration around the design gives the coin a balanced and traditional appearance. Instead of filling the surface with complicated imagery, the designers used a combination of national symbolism, Arabic calligraphy, dates, and decorative patterns. This is important because every detail on a coin has a purpose. The national emblem identifies Saudi Arabia, the royal inscription connects the coin to the reign of King Salman, and the dates tell us exactly when this issue belongs in the history of Saudi currency. Together, these details make the obverse almost like a miniature historical document. Now turn the coin over, and the design becomes much simpler. At the center is a large number 50, making the denomination immediately recognizable. Above the number is the Arabic denomination, while below it appears the English wording 50 Halalas. This combination of Arabic and English is particularly useful for international collectors because it makes the denomination easier to identify even when the collector cannot read Arabic. The reverse also includes decorative floral patterns around the upper and lower portions of the coin. Notice how the designers created visual balance between the two sides. The obverse focuses heavily on national identity, the royal name, the national emblem, and the dates. The reverse focuses primarily on the monetary denomination. This design approach is common in circulation coins because the denomination needs to be easy to recognize during everyday use. And there is another interesting point. Although the coin is relatively small, the large central 50 occupies a significant portion of the available surface. That means even a heavily circulated example can often still be identified quickly. For collectors, the reverse is also an important area to inspect when searching for unusual strikes, damaged lettering, doubling, or other possible minting abnormalities. A small error in such a highly visible area can sometimes make a normal circulation coin much more interesting. One of the first things people notice about this coin is that it carries two different years, 2016 and 1438. So why? The answer is that these numbers belong to two different calendar systems. 2016 refers to the Gregorian calendar. The calendar most commonly used internationally today, 1438, refers to the Islamic Hijri calendar. Saudi Arabia has historically used both systems in its currency, and this coin reflects that tradition. The two dates are not two separate minting years. Instead, they identify the same period using two different calendars. This is one reason the coin is easy to recognize. If you find a Saudi 50 Halalas coin with a combination 2016 and 1438, you can quickly narrow down the exact type you are looking at. For collectors, understanding dates is extremely important because coins that look nearly identical can belong to different issues, reigns, or varieties. So when examining a Saudi coin, don't simply look for the year that you recognize, look at both dates. The combination of 2016 and 1438 connects this coin to a specific moment in Saudi monetary history and to the sixth issuance of Saudi currency introduced during King Salman's reign. Now let's look at the physical specifications of the coin. The 2016 Saudi 50 Halalas coin is listed as being made of brass. Its weight is approximately 5.2 grams, its diameter is about 24 millimeters, and its thickness is around 1.7 millimeters. It is a round coin and uses a milled manufacturing technique. Some catalog sources also describe the edge as having a security-oriented design rather than simply being an ordinary smooth edge. These measurements might sound like simple technical information, but they can become extremely important when authenticating a suspicious coin. For example, if someone claims that a coin is a genuine example of this issue, but its weight or diameter is significantly different, that should immediately raise questions. Of course, small differences can occur because of manufacturing tolerances, wear, dirt, or measuring equipment, but major differences deserve further investigation. Collectors should also remember that cleaning a coin can permanently affect its appearance and potential collector value. If you believe you have an unusual example, avoid polishing it or using harsh chemicals. Instead, photograph both sides clearly, inspect the edge carefully, and compare the coin's basic specifications with reliable catalog information. Sometimes preserving the coin exactly as you found it is much better than trying to make it look new. Now we come to the question that most people are interested in: is this coin actually rare? The short answer is that the 2016 Saudi 50 Halalas coin should not automatically be considered rare simply because it has the 2016 date. It was issued as a standard circulation coin, meaning it was produced for use as ordinary currency. Numista currently lists a relatively low rarity index for this type and shows indicative values for ordinary examples that are generally close to face value, with higher figures for better preserved pieces. These are collector market indications rather than guaranteed selling prices. This distinction is extremely important. A coin can be old without being rare. A coin can be attractive without being valuable. And a coin can have an interesting historical story without being worth hundreds or thousands of dollars. True collector value usually depends on a combination of factors, including rarity, condition, demand, authenticity, and unusual varieties or errors. So if you have this exact coin, don't assume that the date alone makes it extremely valuable. Instead, look much closer. Because the real opportunity for circulation coin often comes from finding something unusual that most other examples do not have. This is where examining an ordinary coin becomes much more exciting. Collectors of modern coins often search for genuine mint errors and varieties. One possibility is an off-center strike, where the design is not properly centered on the blank planchet. Another is a double strike or double design, where certain details appear duplicated because of the minting process. Collectors may also look for unusual die problems, missing or weak details, abnormal lettering, clipped planchets, or unusual edge characteristics. But there is an important warning here. Not every strange-looking mark is a mint error. A scratch made after the coin left the mint is not the same thing as a genuine minting error. A dent caused by being dropped is not necessarily valuable. And damage caused by machinery, tools, or another coin should not automatically be described as a rare variety. This is why authentication matters. If you believe your 50 Halalas coin has an unusual feature, photograph it clearly from several angles and compare it with confirmed examples. The larger and more obvious the minting error, the more interesting the coin may become to collectors. But the key word is genuine. A real mint error can create collector interest. Ordinary damage usually does not. Another major factor is the coin's condition. Imagine two identical 2016 Saudi 50 Halalas coins. One has been circulating for years. Its surface is scratched, the highest points of the design are worn, and the original appearance of the brass has faded. The second coin has sharp details, clean surfaces, and very little evidence of circulation. Even though they are the same denomination, year, and design, collectors may view them very differently. Numismatic grading ranges from heavily circulated grades through levels such as fine, very fine, extremely fine, almost uncirculated, and uncirculated. For modern circulation coins, high-grade examples can be more attractive to collectors than heavily worn examples. However, condition is not the same as rarity. A perfectly preserved common coin can still be common, and a rare error can remain valuable even when the coin has some circulation wear. One of the most important rules for anyone discovering an old or unusual coin is simple: do not clean it. Polishing, scratching, chemical cleaning, or aggressive rubbing can damage the original surface and potentially reduce collector appeal. If your coin appears unusual, preserve it exactly as you found it and seek expert advice before doing anything to the surface. Now let's address the biggest question. How much is this coin worth? For an ordinary 2016 Saudi 50 Halalas coin, you should not automatically expect hundreds or thousands of dollars. Current catalog indications from Numista show ordinary examples generally around the lower dollar range, depending on condition, with the listed values serving only as estimates rather than guaranteed market prices. The actual selling price can vary depending on where the coin is sold, its condition, buyer demand, and whether it has something unusual about it. This is where online videos and social media can sometimes create confusion. You may see claims saying that a particular common-looking coin is worth hundreds, thousands, or even millions of dollars. But a high asking price is not proof of a high market value. For a coin like this, the important questions are: is it a genuine mint error? Is there a recognized variety? Is it unusually well preserved? Is there documented evidence that similar examples have actually sold for a high price? Without evidence, an extraordinary value claim should be treated very carefully, so the smart collector doesn't ask only, what is someone asking for this coin? The smarter question is, what are comparable coins actually selling for, and what makes my example different? If you have one of these coins at home, Here's a simple inspection process. First, check the date. Look for 2016 and 1438 second. Examine the national emblem. Look closely at the palm tree and crossed swords. Third, inspect the Arabic lettering around the coin. Look for anything that appears genuinely doubled, missing, unusually shaped, or different from confirmed examples. Fourth, turn the coin over and examine the large 50 and the words 50 HALALAS. Fifth, inspect the edge. This is an area many casual collectors completely ignore. Sixth, check the coin's physical measurements if you have an accurate scale and caliper. Compare the results with established catalog specifications. And finally, examine the overall condition. If you discover something that looks unusual, do not clean the coin and don't immediately sell it to the first person who offers you money. Take clear photographs of both sides, the edge, and the unusual feature. Then seek an experienced numismatist or professional grading and authentication service if the potential value justifies it. Remember, the goal is not to convince yourself that the coin is rare. The goal is to determine objectively whether it actually is. So what is the final verdict on the 2016 Saudi Arabia 50 Halalas coin? This is an interesting modern circulation coin from the 6th issuance of Saudi currency, produced during the reign of King Salman bin Abdulaziz Al Saud. Its design combines the Saudi national emblem, Arabic inscriptions, floral decoration, the dates 2016 and 1438, and the denomination of 50 halalas. As an ordinary circulated example, it should not automatically be treated as a rare or extremely valuable coin. Available catalog information points toward relatively modest values for normal examples, with condition and unusual characteristics potentially making a difference. But that doesn't make the coin uninteresting. In fact, this is exactly why coin collecting can be so fascinating. A coin that looks ordinary to one person can become much more interesting when you know what details to examine. So the next time you find a Saudi 50 halalas coin dated 2016, don't just look at the number. Look at the dates, the emblem, the lettering, the edge, the condition, and especially any possible mint errors. And if you enjoy discovering the stories and hidden details behind coins from around the world, make sure you subscribe to Coin Collection 1, because sometimes the most interesting discoveries aren't the coins that look valuable at first glance. They're the coins that make you stop, look closer, and ask one simple question: what exactly am I holding?